Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you. Welcome to those that are here in person, those of you that are at St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center, and those of you that are participating as well. Welcome to the annual GME Town Hall. This is an opportunity where your leadership and you all get the chance to participate in these kind of bi-directional discussions. We're going to start out with a little bit of an overview of this GME. Take a couple of minutes just to pass on some information and reinforce and remind individuals of some of that information. Then we will turn over the podium to Dr. Douglas Ross, the CEO of St. Joseph's Hospital and Medical Center, currently on day 14. And he says it seems like year 14, and we are expecting any minute now Dr. Mike White as well, the Chief Clinical Officer here at Valleywise as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll decide. Welcome, Dr. White. We were just introducing you as well. And then we can decide whether we want to have the exchanges all at the end or as individuals come up. But we certainly want to give an opportunity for all three to be able to share some information, thoughts, perspectives, visions, goals, etc. So moving on. So this is your Creighton University School of Medicine Phoenix GME programs. And if you remember, we are delinked and separate from Omaha for graduate medical education. For undergraduate medical education for the medical students, it's considered a regional medical campus and based and accredited out of Omaha. So our structure is a little bit different than Omaha, if you will. We are about 336 strong this year and growing. As you can see, these are your current programs. Maternal fetal medicine received accreditation a couple of months back, and inaugural fellow will be starting in July. Anesthesiology, the applications in, and we remain cautiously optimistic as always, but we're very hopeful that the program will receive its accreditation at the April meeting when it's reviewed, and then begin recruitment in this fall cycle for the inaugural cohort to begin in July of 2026 on the corner. And then we're working on a couple of other programs that are different lines of development, and as well as other opportunities globally, looking at things like rural track programs, etc. So that's a little bit early to announce, but we are working on those things. So that's just a graphic that you see that it's all of us here. I spared you all the org chart like we've done in the past, so that you know that a GME office, right? And we have Juliet here, our GME manager, who oversees all your program coordinators. So we're going to go in a second to highlight a few of the changes. Remember your Med-Ed Grand Round, right? Med-Ed Grand Rounds are nearly monthly across the year. They're across the system, across all programs, and they're meant to help supplement and address topics that are not only of benefit and use in your educational and your clinical and other activities, but also required for accreditation. And I highlight this because the domains that we picked kind of align with the feedback we've received from you all, not only in our different meetings, but also vis-a-vis the survey results that each resident or fellow fills out annually, and the faculty fill out annually as well. So you can see we've covered topics like event reporting, patient safety and risk, and you're going to get a question about, do you participate in adverse event analysis, right? And my response is, if anybody ever attends M&M conferences, that's part of that, right? In addition to things like one of your Med-Ed Grand Round. You all remotely, please remember to stay on mute for right now, please. Thank you. We've addressed scholarly activity at the last one. We do not have a med ed grand rounds in October and November and December. And then the next one in February, next month, will be well-being and fatigue management specifically. From there, we move into interprofessional teamwork as a topic. Later, you can see the other topics as we go through there, right? And so the highlight being that these not only are of educational and practical value, but they address some of the issues that are required for accreditation and some of the things you'll be queried on in these surveys as well. So hopefully you take advantage of these opportunities, whether it's live at each venue or vis-a-vis Zoom, or asynchronously afterwards, because they're all taped and you can watch them and learn from them afterwards. The usual, we do not have a resident and fellow handbook. We do have all of your policies on the website. Those of you in the back, cover your left eye. You can see the URL up there. If you search for Creighton GME Phoenix, it'll pop right up and you can go to that website, then look at the policies there, things like vacations, leaves of absences. Then this is just a brief list of the ones where we made a few changes to in the processes. So for example, in due process, we try to align the units of time. It was a little bit all over the place, going from business days to calendar days to work days. So we're trying to define the units of time more uniformly across the policies. Things like moonlighting and volunteering, which you have at your department, at your program level as well. We define physician impairment and on and on. So these are just some of the ones that we've made a couple of changes, and that we invite obviously everybody to go and review. And if you're not aware, your vacation and leave of absence form is online. We've even made it a fillable. It's either a fillable PDF or a fillable Word document for you to be able to get that process as well. And if there's ever any questions, you consult with your program director, your program coordinator, or our GME office, and we're always, there's no wrong door there, right? We're always all here to answer and try to get things resolved. So this is really a de facto manual, if you will. And so a lot of your questions can be answered here. And then you have your program level policies that you should be looking at as well. Then, as with a lot of, whether it's governance or organizations, the institutional ones supersede the program level policies if there's ever variance. And if there's any questions, any clarity, you should seek that out. We're excited to report that beginning February 3rd, a new GME learning specialist, right? That's the title. We went back, Dr. Dude Caudray, because he said it's French order. I said Caudray. So Dr. Dude Caudray will be starting. He will be coming from the University of Arizona, Phoenix here, and he will be available for each and every one of you and your programs. So learning specialists, as you know, can help in a variety of ways, whether it's as starting as organizational skills or what we call executive functioning training. Things like, hey, I need to see how I would benefit from some coaching and being more organized and being able to prioritize, plan, to be able to have realistic time estimation skills, initiate tasks, all those basic things you do every day, to more specific learning related strategies, whether it's your ITEs, your board preps and things like that. He will be available. He's also going to be available to each of your programs to assess and consult regarding curriculum development as well. And to a lesser degree, but also work with our faculty development team to be available on the faculty side for teaching as well. So we're excited and we welcome him as well, because if you don't know that, these are rare folks that really specialize in these areas as it relates to doctors and not just medical students, but in the GME world. We also want to acknowledge and recognize that there was a reclassification effort that went underway, and because of the work that your program coordinators do, and aligning with a national trend, we'll be reclassifying them as program managers as well. So like the Brits say, they'll be your PM coming up beginning March as well. And that's it from my end, right? And again, we'll open it up to the floor in a little bit. We'll turn it over. I always leave with this African proverb that you know what. And why? Because it's also a little bit of a metaphor where you're now gonna hear from the leaders of each of our 2 health systems, and they're gonna provide information, and then I'll afterwards be available for question Q&A. All righty. And on that note, we turn it over to Dr. Douglas Ross from Dignity Health, St. Joseph's Hospital Medical Center. Dr. Ross.
Right. Good morning. Oh, good morning. All right. Thank you. So appreciate that, Dr. Castellanos. Appreciate y'all letting me be here with you today. Really excited to be here. As he mentioned, I'm on day 14 of the job. So it's been a whirlwind, as you can imagine. It's a great opportunity for me to get to know each of you, and then for me to get to know you as well, and you get to know me. Again, my role, I'm the president and CEO of St. Joseph's across town at Dignity Health. Yeah, I'm just excited to be there. It's a great opportunity for me to join that team. And I'm going to come up here and sit down a little bit. It's a great opportunity for me to come up and join that team. We do some amazing things across town, and I'm excited about building on that foundation. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about me. I'm a board certified emergency medicine physician by training. I still carry my board certifications, and I don't know if I'm ever going to stop the administrative roles and switch back to the clinical side. But it's something that I'm excited to do. I attended medical school at the University of Arkansas. I attended residency at the University of South Carolina, one of the best programs in the country. I was a chief resident there. It was my first taste of leadership. I can't say that dramatically changed my course of my career. I really enjoyed my time as chief resident, but my goal was to be a practicing emergency medicine physician. So after I graduated residency, I moved back to Arkansas, where I was from, and I was a full-time practicing emergency physician. That was my goal. That's what I wanted to do for my career. But as I practiced more and more in the emergency department, I wanted to learn about the aspects of our operations. I wanted to learn about why the decisions got made, the 360-degree view of our operations, kind of how the sausage got made, so to speak. So I started to take on more and more leadership opportunities in the emergency department. And that's really where my leadership started to grow. And probably when I had the opportunity, and this was back in the dark ages when we were still on paper systems, I was asked to lead our transition from paper charting to the Epic electronic medical record. That's really when I started to understand the workflows of all of the different departments in the hospital. We had a very, very successful go live at that point in time. And that's really where I started to change my trajectory of my healthcare career, and started to take on more and more leadership opportunities. To about 10 years ago, I made the decision to switch from full-time clinical practice over to administration. I served in some various administrative roles, program directors, medical directors, all the way up to chief medical officer. I came from the Arkansas side of the company before coming out here to Phoenix. 5 years ago, I was asked to take over the president role of one of our larger facilities in Common Spirit Health, and I'll get to that here in a minute. That was one that I really had to pause about, because in terms of physician leadership, it's very, very common for physicians to take leadership roles as program directors, as medical directors, as chief medical officers. There's not a lot of physicians in the country that have taken that step more to the president and the CEO role. And that was something that I really had to sleep on and pray on a little bit, because I was very, very comfortable sitting in a room with a group of physicians talking about how we improve quality, how we improve safety, all of those different dynamics. I wasn't very comfortable at that point in time about sitting in a table with the governor or one of our legislators or folks from the Chamber of Commerce about how we succeed as a healthcare institution in the community, how we mesh with business and economic development. So when I made that switch, it was a big leap of faith. But I've really, really, really enjoyed that over the last couple of years. And now at St. Joseph's, I've just got an opportunity to help run an amazing team where we do some really, really incredible things. I would encourage each of you, as you go through your career, to really, really be open to those different leadership opportunities, not only as traditional roles for you as physicians, but some of these non-traditional roles as well. St. Joseph's is the oldest hospital in Phoenix. We are getting ready to celebrate our 130th anniversary. I'm the first physician president in the 130-year history of St. Joseph's here in Phoenix. So there just aren't as many physicians in these roles. And I think that's got to change. I think more and more of our physicians need to be involved in the ever-changing dynamics of healthcare across this country. So I would very much encourage you to do that. Wanted to talk to you as I kind of sat outside of just introducing myself and my role and getting to know you a little bit. I kind of asked myself a little bit, okay, if I'm sitting in your shoes, what is something that would be of value to you? When you tend to lecture, usually you walk away with one or two items that you remember, right? So what are the one or two items outside of just getting to know me a little bit that you can walk away from this meeting in kind of a 10-minute span that I can talk to you? I think one of the things that I would encourage you to do is pay attention going forward in your career, going forward in the rest of your training. Pay attention to the systems and the structures around you and how you integrate with the healthcare system. Let me tell you what that means. Right now, you're doing a whole lot of learning of what your basic specialty is, the science, the medicine of family practice, emergency medicine, you name it. And that's excellent. That needs to be your primary focus. But when you graduate, the medicine, wherever you take a job, whether it's in an academic center or whether it's in a private center, the medicine that you've learned is actually going to be the easy part. The hard part is learning how you fit in to that medical staff, into the politics, into the systems, into the structures where you can practice medicine, not only to provide great quality of care, but how you practice that very, very efficiently as well. So one thing about my background that's a little bit different, prior to going to medical school, I took a little bit of a different pre-med track. I was a chemical engineer in my undergrad training. So my mind thinks as an engineer, it thinks in problem solving. So no matter what type of engineering you go to, whether it's chemical, electrical, mechanical, engineering is nothing but problem solving. So if you think about as a chemical engineer, you've got a couple chemicals going into a big chemical plant. You have a desired product going out of the other end. You've got this really complex process in the middle where the magic happens. How does that happen safely and efficiently? Does that sound familiar to anything that we do today? We have sick patients going into the system. We have healthy patients going out of the system. You've got this big thing in the middle here where all the magic happens. How do we do that safely and efficiently? And I think the way you do that is pay attention to the different systems and structures. When you're in clinic, try to understand, why are the patients scheduled this way? Is there a better way to do this? When you're in the hospital, why is length of stay so important? what happens when patients back up in the emergency department from a safety, from an efficiency perspective. I think because when you graduate, not only are we going to expect you to be very, very solid in your medical practice from a quality safety perspective, we're also going to expect you to be very, very efficient in the work that you do. If you go work for a for-profit health system, you know, that efficiency, that quality, that safety is always primary, but you're going to have a drive to be efficient so that health system can end up, you know, creating a margin for their shareholders. If you work for a not-profit health system like St. Joseph's, you still have to be efficient. Even though we're a not-for-profit health system, we still have to practice with quality, with safety, with efficiency, because we have to generate margins, even though we're a not-for-profit health system, because those margins allow us to reinvest back in ourselves, allow us to keep up with technology and to invest with the things that the cutting edge tools that each of you need. That's why I really, really enjoy being part of the not-for-profit health system. We are very, very focused on our mission. We're very, very focused as a ministry. One of the things I love is that we are very, very to caring for the most vulnerable in our community. I think that came from my time in the emergency department, when patients in the community that are most vulnerable have nowhere else to go. Where do they end up? They end up in the emergency department, right? So I think that's one of the reasons I work as hard as I do, is to really enforce that a mission for our team is to care for the most vulnerable in our community. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm excited each of you are at St. Joseph's with Dignity. So we're part of Common Spirit Health. You've probably seen that during your time there. So Common Spirit Health is our parent company as part of Dignity Health. So we're the largest not-for-profit healthcare company in America. So we're in 25 states. We have 145 hospitals. 1 in 4 Americans at some point in their life will be touched by a Common Spirit healthcare facility. So we can really bring a national perspective in terms of healthcare. And going back to my conversation about systems and structures, we can really leverage best practices across our entire company to make sure that when you're spending your time at St. Joseph's, you're seeing some of the best and cutting edge systems and structures as you practice medicine. And I think that's something that I'm excited for each of you to experience in your time at Dignity in St. Joseph's. So I wanted to take just a couple minutes to connect with each of you, give you a little bit about my background, give you some of the reason why I'm excited to be here. I do, and I mentioned this, I meet with our new coworkers every week in orientation. So I'm going to mention the same thing to you. You're a part of our team. You're a very valuable part of our team. We very much value the partnership with Creighton, with Valleywise, and the Alliance. If any of you ever have any issues, I have an open door policy. Please come by the administrative hallway. I'm happy to connect and speak with each one of you. If I'm not in my office, my assistant's sitting right outside my office. She can find a time where the two of us connect. That's not, don't look at that as a burden. That's an exciting part of my job. I actually love to connect with the people on our team. So please take advantage of that. So I'm gonna pause, and then I think we'll have some time for some general questions at the very end. So thank you all very much for your time.
Dr. Mike White, you all know, so you're the CCO from Valleywise Health.
Good afternoon. Be brief, so we have a lot of time for questions. So so first off, I just want to say thank you. You know, we are 6 months and 10 days into the new building, in case anybody's counting. Around there. So thank you for all the work and the transition. And certainly, you know, we have seen a significant amount of patients, you know, through the walls here in Valleywise Health. It is, you know, it's busy. I appreciate every one of you and all the work that you're doing to help us, you know, take care of these patients as they're coming through the emergency department. as they're boarding in the emergency department, as they're boarding in the PACU, as they are boarding in wherever we can stick them at this particular point. I recognize that, and I am hopeful as we get through the winter here, we may get a little bit of relief. I'm not optimistic, but the answer is may around there. But we'll see how things go. But thank you for all of that. Thank you for all of you do. I'm going to do 3 leadership changes within Valleywise Health that you're seeing if you haven't seen around this. So we recognized, have 2 new folks that have joined our team, a new Chief Human Resources Officer. Her name is Deb. She has come from us actually from the Dignity system. She came from us from the Dignity Health East Valley system, who has joined us as a new Chief of Human Resources, as well as a new Chief Information Officer, Stephanie Hines. Stephanie Hines, we recruited out of Intermountain who's in the Denver market. So 2 new senior leaders that we have within the organization. We are expecting 1 big transition for Valleywise Health, in the next 90 days. So for all of you that don't know, Chief Sherry Stotler, who's our Chief Nursing Officer, who has been with Valleywise Health since the dawn of time, around there. She would love for me to say that out loud. Around there is retiring on March 10th. So we are in the process of now, recruiting for a new chief nursing executive as well. So that'll be a big leadership change for us and for the organization around that. Sherry's been forever. It is a source of institutional knowledge, tremendous institutional knowledge for what we do around it. So I don't have a lot of other things. I'm going to open it up the floor I'm going to have Dr. C kind of facilitate us with some questions around that. As Dr. Ross mentioned, you all see me all the time. If there are things that we need to do immediately and address me, grab me, talk to me, around that. Or I live in this building upstairs. So you're always welcome to come up there and find me. So from there, Dr. C.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for coming. See you all. No, we're kidding. We're kidding. As in any town hall, may we put it on the gallery view as well so that we can have participation both here in person from the group room at St. Joe's and online. There you go. Hey, welcome everybody. Everybody looks excited for this portion, right? So this is the portion where it's not just questions, right? Where the ability to raise concerns, ask questions, get clarification, and an opportunity to share with any of us here, any of those issues, and see who may want to start that conversation in either site, please. Oh my gosh, I was just kidding about saying we were just having to do this. It was a joke. Apparently very, but
Any big upcoming changes from a Creighton GME perspective, next couple months or into the next year?
no, you saw, I try to highlight them. We are working on growth, and then the rest is a lot of the typical cycles of things, especially working closely with your house staff leadership on everyday issues. Yes.
We need the mic for everybody here on the side too. So.
The question was if there's any big changes coming up in the next few months. Sorry. How about at St. Joseph's? Is there a question here? Yes, please.
So I have a question for here at Valleywise, especially since you were talking about how we're kind of stuffing patients everywhere, especially like in the hallways, on the floors. What are we going to be doing to try to help with this, especially since some of these patients don't have monitors on them? I just feel like there's a lot of risk with regards to those patients that are in the hallways.
So we've expanded, they are monitored. They're just remotely monitored in the hallways. So so they are, so they're not without that. So the answer is, we have both an input and an output problem, within throughput as the hospital, right? So the front door never closes. The emergency department as the front door of the hospital is never closes. We have seen record ED volumes, within Valleywise Health System, since we opened our doors 150 years ago. I'll just be blunt, it's that particular way around this. But we also have a discharge problem. And this is a community problem that we work with. I know, around this is, where do our patients go that don't need to be in the hospital but can't go home? What does that next level of care look like? We've been working very hard within our long-term care facilities, within our skilled nursing facilities, to see who's going to be able to accommodate patients with increased needs, patients that have both concomitant behavioral health and medical needs around that, because that seems to be a large sticking point, in these particular populations as well. We're also raising capital to finish out the 10th floor. There are 36 beds that are space for up on the shelved space on the 10th floor. I'm hoping to have funding secured by the end of the year for we particularly opened up around there. So I'm hoping this is a short-term solution, a short-term problem. I hate people in the hallways. I'll just be blunt. I hate people in the emergency. I hate people burdening in the emergency department. I hate people in the hallways, because it is not what we want to do around that. So we got a lot of work to do on all of these things. It's a great question.
I might add to that, very similar comments to our Dignity Health facilities as well. I've seen record volumes. Some of our facilities have even said the last couple of weeks have probably stretched them more during the period during COVID, actually, in terms of volume and throughput, and trying to keep that front door open all the time. So that's actually part of my job as well. What I brought in to St. Joseph's is to start also developing our strategic plan of what we are going to do in the future, what we're going to be, what are we going to look like 1, 3, 5 years from now. Part of that also includes our campus master plan we're consistently at 95+% capacity. So we want to continue to grow. It's going to be hard to grow when you're at 95+% capacity. There's only two mechanisms that you can grow at that point: is become more efficient with your beds. And of course, we always have an opportunity to be more efficient. But if you look at our length of stay metrics, they're actually pretty good. So there's not a lot of meat on that bone. And what does it look like for us to invest in the physical plant and to expand and to add additional beds? So those are conversations that are happening all across our market right now.
And value-wise, I know that some patients, for at least on the medicine service, have been in the burn units. Will that be a thing that continues once the 10th floor is opened up, or because kind of concern about burn patients with regular patients? Sometimes immunocompromised patients also get put there.
Again, it depends on volume. I'd rather have a patient in a bed, in a hospital room around that, than have a patient, sitting in a non-wonderful space. So that's where we have capacity, where we have. So the answer is, I bet there will still be internal medicine patients on the 4th floor. Is the right answer. So.
Hey, my name is Donovan. This is more of a question regarding our benefits. Is Creighton matching through our 403B this year? Because I called principal, and they said in our policy there, Creighton does a discretionary match for the 403B, but then one of my co-residents actually called Creighton benefit office, and they said they don't. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Erica Brown, Executive Director.
So currently, under the Creighton University benefit plan, there is no 403B match for house staff employees. That is a benefit that is being evaluated on an annual basis to determine, the best way to move forward, to have some alignment with other faculty and staff's benefit plans. So currently, no, there is no matching, but it is evaluated annually.
St. Joseph's, again, a call, anyone? Okay, I'll turn it back here. Tammy, maybe you can work that room and see. Maybe, or one comment, maybe from you all. And we're trying to make this kind of more conversation rather than a Q&A, right? And have you all feel like you can, this is an opportunity to address issues. If not, we're gonna do like the auction house, going one, twice. But please, this is an opportunity, right? This is one of those opportunities, as we do every year. All right, are we hearing none then?
I can ask another one then.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess for both the hospital systems and for Creighton wide, what are you excited about for the next year? Like, is there anything on the horizon that could impact our interns or our secondary residents, like things that they can look forward to or kind of start to think about and how it'll impact them down the road?
Yeah, no, great question. I think for us, it's obviously we have several Dignity Health facilities across the region. And not only am I here with new leadership, our market president is new, is a gentleman by the name of Tony Houston, who I've worked with in the past. One thing that we're going to start doing is really focusing on how do we work together as a market. Even though each of the facilities are part of Dignity Health and part of Common Spirit Health, we've found that there's been some pretty siloed operations and not communication, not collaboration, and how we can best work together to meet the needs of the community. And that's pretty foreign to me in the health systems that I've been prior to coming here. Obviously you have to meet the needs of the local hospital, but it's in context of how you work together with your partners across the market, because at the end of the day, all boats rise with the tide, right? We work better together, and that's something that we're going to do, and that's going to benefit each of you either directly or indirectly as we grow, as we're able to do more things, as we're able to reinvest back in ourselves. You're gonna see tangible benefits from that, whether it's here, whether it's in the East Valley, whether it's in other parts of our system that we're going to grow. So I think that's probably one of the things that tangibly is going to improve our operations, not just in the GME space, but in every single one of our service lines. Is we have to work together, and that may mean an individual entity may have to take a step backward in another area so another person can kind of step forward. But at the end of the day, is the entire market, is the entire communities better off. So it's just a different way of approaching the challenges that we have, because again, we have some really, really challenging problems in healthcare today. You have capacity issues, you have patients coming more in our facilities than ever before, you have post-acute issues, you have issues with our insurance systems, with probably the most aggressive behavior we've ever seen in terms of denials and getting paid for the work that we do. So there's mounting headwinds against us, and for us to be successful against those headwinds, we have to do better about working together.
So first and foremost, this year I'm completely excited. So this year is the first year that we're going to see a graduating medical school class from the Creighton University School of Medicine that started their entire career in Phoenix. So that's one accomplishment that I am very proud to say, as part of the Creighton University Arizona Health Education Alliance, as part of the programs that you all are part of, you've supported these class of graduating medical students that have done their entire work here in Phoenix. So I am extremely excited of all the work that you all have done to mentor these students to get them to this point. And I'm hopeful as we see the match come here this next month, or March, I guess. We're not quite in February. It feels like we're in February. We're not there yet. Around there to see, how we're able to recruit and retain some of these folks to continue their careers in Phoenix. So I am super, super excited about that. I'm super excited about to see the continued growth in our GME programs. You know, heard Dr. C talk a little bit about, where we are about adding an anesthesia residency program to the portfolio. I think that really complements what we do here around it. And certainly, the services that we provide and the educational opportunities that we provide have that opportunity, hopefully here in ortho. We have some work to do in growth of fellowship programs. Eric is going to close your ears now as I start to talk a little bit, about where we grow in some of our fellowships next as well, to do that, to give us further opportunities to continue to train and improve our learning environment as we're if I look internally here within Valleywise Health around what we're doing, we're adding new faculty, and we're adding faculty of things that we haven't had before. We're adding vascular surgery faculty, to the Department of Surgery. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to see some more breadth of vascular surgery opportunities, in our surgical program as we build out the hybrid operating room, within the operating room space to be able to do some of those procedures, get more folks involved in what we're doing there. Actually adding OMF, in here as well. So we're going to start to see some new and different things and some newer different experiences we have over the upcoming calendar year that I think are going to be, truly exciting for what we're doing. I don't know if you want to add anything from the Creighton spot, Dr. C.
Yes, and couple of things we did not mention is that, as you know, we previously had a scholarly activity manager, and now we're working with the medical school side and how to share those resources, but how to enhance that for you all as well to provide even more resources for scholarly activity. Remember, scholarly activity is not just research, right? It involves publications, peer-reviewed journals, publications and book chapters, presentations at national, regional, local meetings, et cetera, et cetera. So we will be providing additional resources. The details are forthcoming on the scholarly activity side as well. On a more individual note, we are, for any future chief residents, we will be looking to enroll the second cohort of our Elevate CR Chief Resident Leadership Academy as well. And that's a combined experience between Phoenix and Omaha, including a trip to beautiful Omaha, Nebraska. And so that's as a start, as an added benefit for your chiefs and as your leaders. And we're hoping to expand that even further to all residents in the future, but scale it up. St. Joe's, last call. St. Joe's, St. Joseph's.
Hi, my name is Brett, and I am resident. Quick question. We've heard whispers that St. Joe's is going to be transitioning to Epic. What's the forecast for that transition?
Great question. They're not whispers. It is true. So I'll kind of come out with that. One thing we're doing as a company, as I mentioned, the breadth of common spirit. We have across our 145 hospitals, we have, I think, and clinics, we have numerous numbers of electronic medical records. And they just, and you've all probably experienced the frustration of that. They just don't talk to each other. So in our move to become integrated and standardized in one company, we've made the decision to go with Epic across the entire continuum of care. It's actually the most aggressive move in U.S. healthcare history. No other healthcare company is going to attempt this degree of integration of the electronic medical record that we're doing across. That is starting actually in Epic. We've worked with Epic. Epic has actually built us because of the size and scale. Epic has built us our own instance of Epic, our own platform that we'll be installing. And that installation actually starts in various parts of our company this coming fall. So that's coming very, very quickly. I will say here in our hospitals across Arizona, our hospitals in California that are all on Cerner. We're on the tail end of that implementation. So we're a couple of years away from that implementation. So all of you can maybe breathe a sigh of relief if you've already learned Cerner. You don't have to necessarily learn a new EMR, but that is coming towards us. And there's some benefits of being on the tail end of something. You can kind of work out all the bugs at the other places and get it more of a finely tuned implementation by the time it gets to us. But that is coming. And again, at once we've completed that, you can imagine the power of that is that if a patient goes to any of our sites across 25 states, we're going to be able to seamlessly see the care that was delivered. So it's going to be very, very powerful for us. So we're excited. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be, as you can imagine, it's going to be very expensive. But we're several years down the line.
Great question. Thank you. Anything else from St. Joe's? Because this will be the last round of anyone. All right. Anybody, any basketball fans? Anybody think Jimmy Butler's coming to the Phoenix Suns? No. Oh, okay. See, that got a response, right? Okay. So on that note, then we're going to conclude the town hall meeting. We appreciate everybody's coming and participating, and we appreciate everything each and every one of you do, and have a great afternoon.